You know, for whatever reason, I can't figure out what I'm doing or not doing that keeps us from showing up in the first half of our home games. And I shared that with the team, that we all need to look at ourselves and figure out what's going on, because we for whatever reason, we're not showing up. And we get in a hole, and then today we were in an unbelievably deep hole. Quite honestly, I don't know how we got back in it at the point where we had a real chance to win in the end and then couldn't execute. We couldn't throw and couldn't catch, which chances of that happening were slim in my opinion. But we just didn't play very good today, and that's disappointing. And obviously it starts with me. I must not have done a good job of getting them ready this week. I thought we practiced well, but I need to go back and look and see exactly what happened and try to make the adjustments that we need to make in all phases to improve. The turnovers obviously are a killer, and then allowing the touchdown on special teams. Even though they returned the kickoff for a touchdown, I'm going to be excited. I want to see what happened. The ball was placed on the boundary. It looked like there was 45 people in the boundary, and how that guy came out of there, I don't know. So we'll have to look and see what happened there. But we worked extremely hard this week on all of our special teams, because obviously that's where Kansas State makes a living. And our coverage units, other than that one, and our punts, we're good. But we lost that one. So 3 of 13 on third down is not really like us for the most part. Mason did not play good in the first half. So it's really pretty simple. And I'm disappointed in their play, and I'm disappointed in our coaching in that their plans, in my opinion, were better than ours, and their players played better than we did. Each week I have to make an opinion on how I think we match up talent-wise against each team, and that helps us put together game plans and so on and so forth. And in my opinion, we should have won that game just based on talent from top to bottom. It's got nothing to do with Kansas State. I have all the respect in the world for their staff, all the respect in the world for their players. But we should have played better, and we should have done enough to win the football game. It's not always that way, but in my opinion, that's the way I felt. So I give them a lot of credit for what they brought in, for rallying, for making plays in the end. They made the last plays out here, and we didn't. So I told the team that too. That's exactly what I told them, is that you should have won this game. And that's not you as players, that's coaches and players as a group. We, as an organization, should have played well enough at home to win that game. But that's why we play the games. It doesn't always fall that way. So you talk about a special teams touchdown. You lost the turnover battle. I don't know how many poor throws and or drop passes we had, and we weren't any good on third down, and we gave up at least 3, maybe 4 huge plays on a defense. So you stir all that up, and that's not a good thing. That's really what happened.
You mentioned Mason didn't have a good first half. Do you remember times at all in your career as quarterback where you just didn't have it, or when you watch that, is that just sort of inexplicable to you?
Oh, I guess both. John, it's been so long since I played, I can't remember. And if I did, I tried to forget it. But I'm sure that there's days that can happen. But, when I get up here, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you exactly the way I feel, and that's the way I felt.
When did you start to sense that there was kind of some life missing today, or that
Somewhat.
some life missing from your team, or an attitude that wasn't there?
I don't think it was that. And that's why I said I'm a little confused from my standpoint. I didn't feel like it was that. We just weren't making any plays. And you know, I said you throw everything in and you stir it up. It was, well, there's times we didn't block very good. There's times we didn't cover very good. Times we didn't throw very good. Times we didn't catch very good. There's time we didn't cover the kickoff very good. And I didn't think it was lifeless. I just am a little puzzled why in the first half playing home with the crowds we have that are unbelievable, why we can't perform better in the first half. And so the only way that I know to clean something up and fix it is to address it and say, I think this is an issue. Let's fix it. Otherwise, it doesn't go away. And that's why I was saying that. Not as much lifeless, but I'm not sure. There's just a lot of little things that kept going. That when you threw it all in there and stirred it up, and that's why you got beat, or we got beat.
Their plans overall probably maybe better than you guys. What did they do offensively that maybe you guys didn't expect, or what didn't you guys do defensively?
Well, it's the same stuff that they've done. And what's interesting is we had several 3-and-outs today, but then we give up big plays. And you have to minimize big plays against a team that runs that style of offense, in my opinion, because you can get your 3-and-outs, but you can't give up big plays. You can't turn the guys loose in the secondary, and that's what we did a few times.
The third quarter, they had 206 yards on 18 plays. A lot of it was, the first half you guys going down 15, but the third quarter, a lot of it was the defense couldn't stop the big play then either.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. I agree with you. And that's what I saw. I didn't have that stat in my paper, in my head or on the piece of paper, but that's kind of the way I felt.
Mike, the quarterback run game hurt you. First drive seemed to stop that the rest of the game. Whatever you did to stop it, did that open up some of the big plays later?
Got to play some man, get caught. We got caught in a wheel route. We got picked one time, hit us on a wheel route, got us on a double move, and that's all part of it. It's give and take. You got to see your keys. You got to read your keys. You got to read high hat. You got to read low hat. Can't buy into double moves. You got to give them some cushion. That's all part of it. But what you're saying is correct.
Last series, you opened up with the out pattern to James, and he dropped it, but it looked like he was trying to reverse and go around the guy for a big gainer down the sideline. Was that open in terms of not throwing a 12-yard pass that might go for 30 or 40? Was that in his mind, or was that
well, the
part
first
of the plan?
two, we ran it twice. We had a drop and an overthrow. And in the history of those two together, they can do that blindfolded. So I don't know what to say. We had the perfect play called. We run an outcut, the ball's in the air, the ball's in his hands once, and the other ball is over his head, and the DB's 5 yards off. We got what we want. In fact, I thought the same thing you did on the first one. I thought he was going to slip right by the guy. And then I think he took his eyes off of it. And they're human. I mean, I love both those kids, but we didn't play very well on that drive. That part was surprising. The overall concept of what happened today, for me, was disappointing.
How did not having Trey out there for the first half affect the way you guys played in the secondary, if at all?
Some. Not a lot, but some. Had, different guys, but some. Not a lot.
What happened? The offense, even you got stopped and had to kick a couple of field goals, but you were moving the ball in the late second quarter till early fourth. You didn't do anything on offense. 2 turnovers, 4 punts, or whatever. What happened in the middle of the game where the offense just didn't do much at all?
We didn't execute our base stuff, and just a second ago when I said it was a missed block, or a guy got pushed in the backfield, or we didn't pick up a twist, or we dropped a ball, or we overthrew. We had a holding, right? We were down there cooking pretty good that one time, and I think at that time it was a 13-point game. And we're on like the 35, and we had a holding. Again, I don't want to keep using the term, but you just keep throwing it in and stirring it up, and it didn't taste any good. It was just a little bit of something. And that's why I go back to what I told them in the locker room is they're playing better and minimizing mistakes on the road better than they are at home. And I don't know if they're relying on each other or whatever, but that's something that's going to have to change. And maybe it's not home and away, but it just feels that way. Y'all watch us all the time. It's an unusual situation. So the only thing I know is identify it and try to find a solution.
Is there also an element of that this team seems to, I guess, focus and play better when they're down 7 as opposed to?
I said that same thing to them. Why don't you try getting ahead by 20 and see how that feels? I mean, I don't have an answer for you. And so, again, I'm going to go back to what I started with. Why we're starting slow at home, I'm not sure. If we're just relying on each other too much or whatever. But we've got to get rolling at home. Fortunately, we got another game next week. Sure would have been a bad taste in my mouth for a lot of months if we had ended today.
Mike, the Mason being off, could you tell that early? And does that explain the 2 interceptions, or did they just fool him with coverage, or what happened on those 2 picks?
Not really. I mean, I think he knew exactly what the coverage was. You would have to ask him. I just think he missed a couple throws.
You guys look dead. You're down 29 at one point, 22, 25, 9 minutes left. All of a sudden, you go out there with 2 minutes left, you got a chance to win. What was the feeling like on the sideline at that point? Did you think you were going to win?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we had plenty of time, right? There was 2:32. That's an eternity for us. Even if the other team's in pass defense, we were on the 40, right? So I thought we got momentum. We're rolling. We ran the first out cut and saw the same thing you did. We got an out cut for 12 yards in the corners. Even if he wraps him up there, he's going to get 15 or so, right? I mean, it'd be hard to get him for less than 15. It's going to be 1st and 10 on the other side of the field. So I was feeling the same way.
Coach, how do you keep the team's morale up after a loss like this?
Oh, that goes back to the culture we have here. I guess anything's possible. They have a lot to play for. They have a responsibility each week to get ready to play. I don't care who we play. If they don't feel that way, then they shouldn't be here. And so it makes a difference who we play next week, what our record is. Well, I'll use them for an example, the team we just played today. They played pretty good. They had a heck of a game plan. I thought they maximized what they could do. So they played. And so our guys need to understand that they're responsible for doing what we ask them to do for each other. That's part of the culture we have here. Otherwise, college football would be a tough gig. But that part doesn't concern me. Try to find out why we won't start good. Maybe we can start better next week.
Skylar Thompson didn't get his first career start until last week. Did the lack of film kind of make it hard to prepare for him this week?
What number?
Quarterback.
Their quarterback, number 17.
Oh, no. I mean, no. We just didn't make plays.
Anything else, Coach?
Good. All right. Thanks.